Well, it's a little bit different this week. We are utilizing Zoom. So shout out to the makers of Zoom. I think they're in Canada or Japan or maybe even Greenland. I'm not totally sure. Wherever the hell they are, thank you so much. We do love your Restream, but we didn't get there. My name is Joey V. I am the host I'm basically the host. I do the Blind Knowledge podcast. I've been around for a minute. I do Blind Knowledge. Check us out. We got 26 podcasts. We got live streams. We got digital content. We can show you how to do it too. We can show you our studio in a box. We got that for you. blindknowledge.com. But more importantly, enough from my shill. We have a very special guest on. She's an author. She seems like a free thinker. We're going to get to know this woman a little more. She's got some things to teach us, I think. Phyllis, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to be here.
And I'm glad you're here too. So let's get right to it. You got a brand new book out, right?
Right.
All right. America in Therapy. What's the book about and where did the inspiration come from?
Yeah. And let me just say, it isn't in print yet. I have a publisher and I'm hoping that it will be out by next spring.
Okay. We got the inside scoop on this.
You got the inside scoop.
That's
sure.
Pretty cool. So what's going on with this book?
Okay. So I have been a psychotherapist for way over 30 years, and I have so much experience working with what drives people, what hurts people, what helps people, what helps us thrive. And one of the big contributions of psychotherapy over the last 30, 40 years, perhaps, and maybe it's a little longer, is the introduction of the whole idea of family systems and family therapy. And that was a big move in the world of psychotherapy and psychology from a looking at an individual as sort of like, what's wrong with them? What are their complexes? What are their neuroses? What's wrong with them as an individual? And the whole idea of family systems theory and family therapy blew that out of the water. And we've come to understand that we are so much a product of the family systems that we're a part of, that condition us, that teach us what to believe, how to behave, what the role models are for men and women, how you deal with conflict. The list goes on and on.
Well, I mean, that's where we learn, right? That's where we grow, literally. Yeah.
Literally. And so our family conditioning has a lot to do with who we become in the world and how we cope and how we see the world and what we expect from ourselves and others. And we also have realized that the family system is actually bigger than the family that you're born into. A workplace is a family system. A place of worship is a family system. A business, a government agency, because we play out the roles that we kind of learned in our family. One person learns kind of to be the good girl or the rebel, or the one who disappears and nobody sees them. Or
people kind of slide into roles. Do you find that happens in all really family dynamics?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And part of it's nature and part of it's nurture. And, because I think people do come in with an individual nature. We're not just a product of our conditioning. You can have two people in the same family who end up playing very different roles in that family. And part of that is because of the conditioning in the family, but I think part of that is in our individual nature. But what we can do something about is nurture. I may be born, a quieter person or a more outspoken, gregarious person by nature, but I can learn to be respectful of others. I can learn to have good boundaries.
That's psychology, right? That's your inner spirit, your inner self learning and teaching and adapting itself how to be better.
Totally. And how to be functional in a world where we have to get along with other people in order to survive in some way.
Yeah, it comes in handy. That's for sure. And there's so many of us. Yeah, we're bound to intertwine and interlink, especially depending on the industry we're in, for sure.
Right. And so, where the book kind of got born was in a couple of impulses. One was, I had so much training in working with children and seeing the effects on them from their family dynamics. And in my early years of being a psychotherapist, I worked quite a lot with children, and the vast majority of children that I saw were coming to therapy because they were having symptoms that were a result of conflictual divorce situations among their
This
parents.
is interesting because I started therapy as a small child, about 4, 5 years old, when my parents
Wow.
divorced. That's when I started this whole ordeal. I guess it's not an ordeal. That's negative. It's like a journey, or just it's a
Yeah.
discovery, and I'm still in it. My mom keeps asking me if I've gotten a therapist yet lately, and I know I should, because I know how healthy that is for me,
Hmm.
just to have a third party to speak to on things, and be out of that family dynamic, and be out of what my comfort zone is.
Totally.
Do you see, does that happen a lot for other people? Like, do they come just to, let me ask you just that off the cuff. Like, why do people, do they ever tell you why they go to therapy? Like, why
Oh,
do they
they
go?
always do. And,
Do
that's
they?
one of the first questions you ask, of course. And sometimes there's layers underneath what a person might present
Mhm.
as the originating symptomology or
Like
problem.
traumatic events, or
Yeah.
maybe not being, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a psychotherapist, so I have
Well,
no
I
idea.
can share with you there's such a wide variety. People generally come because they're in pain. That's the number one motivator for people to find help. Just like if your body's in pain, you look for a doctor.
Yeah.
And when your
Yeah. Yeah.
heart and your mind are in pain, hopefully, you look for someone who is knowledgeable in how to help you deal with that.
For me, like I said, I've been in this since I was 5. Like, that's what I know is it's a healthy way of dealing with certain things,
Right.
so that other consequential things don't occur.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's you pointed out to what part of that whole dynamic is that brings a person to therapy. They're in pain, and the relationship isn't working. They're not getting along with their spouse or their children, or they're having a hard time with their boss or their employees, or
Mhm.
they are not happy with their place in their community, or they've failed at a business, or something has motivated them.
But it's pain. That's the word. That's the key word here.
The key
Capital
word.
P is pain. And you don't joke. You don't joke about it. I mean, pain is a serious word when you break it down. No
Right.
one likes to be in pain.
Right.
Painful is just a terrible way to be. Do you, as a professional, would you say you're a therapist as well, not just a psychotherapist, or do people call you a therapist? Like, what's the
Well, I
correct
guess
lingo?
it's the same thing in my mind.
Is it okay? Yeah, I
They're
just want to
just
be.
yeah,
I want to make
yeah,
sure I'm on point.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, that's a lot of schooling too.
yeah.
Do you mostly see progression, in your field?
Oh, yeah, if people stick with it and they really wanna do the work and they're willing to have some discomfort, not always, but
Hmm.
often there's like because here's what I wanted to say, like, we have this conditioning and something about it didn't work. It gave us a message that we weren't good enough, or we weren't lovable, or we weren't smart enough, or we weren't worthy of better treatment, or some negative belief about ourselves got implanted, and that negative belief generated coping mechanisms. And some of our coping mechanisms are functional. We work hard or we try to be nice to other people. But sometimes there's a downside to the coping mechanisms, especially if the coping mechanism is to be aggressive and, overpower other people, or to never listen to what anybody else says, or to withdraw to a place where you can't take in the love and care of other people, or you can't give it. So what brings people to therapy is a combination of pain and coping mechanisms that aren't working in their adult life. So they're stuck in this rut, like I'm in a bad relationship, and the way I cope is to yell at my partner. I'm just making this up, as
Sure.
an
Yeah. Sure.
person.
Sure. I
And
understand.
that's not working because I'm not getting the love that I want from my partner. I'm not getting a happy relationship, but I don't have any other mechanism because I feel like I'm right and I feel like I have to convince you that you're wrong. And this is one example of
Wow.
what happens in families that role model for children that we're supposed to fight it out until somebody wins. And what I
But that's
saw,
what they were used to. That's what they know.
right? And so then they take that out into their adult relationships, right?
So that's why those kinds of things happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's many, many varieties of those dynamics that we model. And the reason why I wrote my book, America in Therapy, is because I see those same dysfunctional dynamics happening in the family of America, where there's, it's not two spouses fighting, it's two parties fighting with great hostility and great,
A lot of hostility right now. A lot of like left, right, blue,
right.
red. Like, I'm right, you're wrong. I want to hurt you because you don't believe in me,
That's
or
right.
believe what I believe, I should say,
Right.
or because I'm a very stubbornness, a lot of hate, a lot of rage, a lot of scary shit in society, if you don't mind
Right.
my
And these
saying.
are what we call dysfunctional family dynamics. And yet we accept them because somehow we've been conditioned to accept that this is just the way it is, or somebody's going to win in the end, and hopefully it's my side is going to win. When we know from family systems that hurts children, it hurts spouses to be in that kind of dynamic. They don't come out of it happy, functional people who are
So
easy.
does this go even deeper? Is this where they go, where kids can go total inner and like, I hate to even go in this direction, but you have violence, you have school shootings, you have just bullying to max. Like, is that where all that stuff comes from, or am I just a little off there?
No, I think you're totally onto what I'm talking about. And what I'm saying is it's
Because
happening on
that's
the
a huge
individual,
issue.
it's happening on the individual family level, and it's happening on the national level. It's happening in large institutions. And so that's the role model that's out there for so many children. That there's no role model that I see proliferated, let's say, across the media of how are we going to work this out? Let's bring the two parties together. Who's going to mediate the conversation so that we can actually come to some
Yeah,
agreement
that's
that's for the
healthy.
good
That's
of the
healthy
people?
and normal. That's like an intellectual and logical way of handling the situation, I would think.
Right. Right. So I call
Wow.
the tools of psychotherapy and the principles of good psychology the answer lying hidden in plain sight, because we actually do know what works. And there's also psychological reasons why, on the largest levels of society, we're not using those principles. We're not committed to repair. We're not committed to the
Yeah.
welfare of the entire family of America, which means everyone.
Why aren't we, in your opinion? Why don't we focus on these in-depth but very important details? Why are we okay with just dumbing down?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's many answers to that question, so I'm not going to pretend that I have them all, or that I could even say all the things that I say in my
It's a
book
wicked question.
here.
Yeah.
But there's some big ones, and one of them is that, and so I look through the lens of a dysfunctional, abusive family when I'm talking about the family of America, because the dynamics are exactly the same. And if we can understand them on the individual level, then we have a better hope of understanding them on the level of large institutions with great power and government institutions which have enormous power over the entire population. And so one
Wow.
of the things that you see in an abusive family is that the abuser has all the power
Hmm.
and they don't want to give it up. There's some gratification for them from having control over everyone, whether it's, they want to sexually abuse someone, or they want to take out their rage and beat someone, or they want to control all the finances, or they just want to have all the say so and
Is
have
that
their.
is that a dominant personality, or is that a psychopath?
Well, I think one of the points that I try to make in my book is that this is a cycle that needs to be interrupted. So what
Yeah,
I
there's got to be
see,
some rejuvenation, some
yeah,
education for sure. Some love and just some like empathy and
well,
love.
love is the answer. Love is
Right
actually
on.
the answer. One of the things that I say a lot in my book is that, and this comes straight out of my experience of over 30 years as a psychotherapist, all of the injuries that people bring to therapy that cause the greatest pain are injuries to love and belonging. There, it's the ways that we weren't loved, that we didn't feel like we belonged, that we didn't feel valued for who we are, that we didn't feel accepted, and we didn't learn peaceful conflict resolution skills that caused the greatest pain in people. Love is the answer. And love is not part of political discourse today. And that is the big missing. Love and all of its, nuances and all of the dynamics that create a loving family environment are not part of political discourse. And that's why one of the big reasons why we are in so much trouble.
Hate, it's easy to weaponize.
Yes.
Hate speech is very easy to weaponize. It's just been happening forever.
You're absolutely right. And that's what's happening.
But let's talk about some other cool stuff that you got. You got 2 other books, so we got to let people know. And I especially want to know what is up with this one, A Light in the Darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote that book first. And actually, I wrote that book before I thought I was going to write America in Therapy. So that book is really autobiographical. And that is my own journey from having been abused in my own childhood and the after effects of that really pervaded my life in a very, very, very difficult way. For many years, I was one person who didn't remember what happened to me. I think some of what happened to me happened so early on in life that it was sort of pre-verbal and pre-memory, but it definitely colored my life. And I think many people don't know that what happens early in life has a huge conditioning effect. We are wired for love and connection. And when that connection is broken and our bodies are hurt or our hearts are hurt, we suffer and we become symptomatic. And
so it doesn't go away, you're saying? It
does
doesn't
not go
just roll
away.
off. Damn.
And actually, that was one of the other big motivators for writing this book, is that I think a lot of people don't know that it doesn't go away and that they're suffering from things that are not their fault. They're suffering from things that happen to them that they have a right, and we hope can find some healing for, rather than what we do as a society is we blame people for their symptoms. When people become aggressive as a result of being hurt, we blame them. When they become passive and helpless, we blame them for not standing up. And when they stand up too strong, we blame them for that. And when they tell the truth of what really happened in a society that doesn't want to hear it, just like some families don't want to hear what really happened, we hurt them and we silence them.
Sometimes nothing's ever right for some people, Phyllis. Some people are that's just how they function, like, which is a really sad way to be. And like, they should be outliers in society, in my humble opinion. Because we're not getting
which
anywhere
people are
with
you
that.
talking about right now?
Just like folks that don't want to get better, that don't want to like progress and evolve, that are doing anything terrible that like you brought up. And yeah, just kind of like I don't have a lot of respect for them. It's hard to have respect for them. Do you think I should be more empathetic? Like,
Well, I think
do
this is
people will
one of the
people
big
change?
challenges that we face today. And it's a big challenge.
Because like
And
I'm feeling, if you feel what I'm saying, and as an example, like I'm feeling a little bit of like negativity towards like someone like that. And I don't even know if I should at this point.
well, I don't think it's a matter of should. I think it may be a matter of us expanding our understanding. If someone murders another person, they drive into a crowd and they randomly shoot people and they don't even know them. Of course, we're going to have
Oh
feelings
my
about
God.
that.
Yeah. Just
We're going to have,
confusion for sure.
yeah, deep
Yeah.
feelings. But
Deep.
I think as a society, just like as a family, if you have a kid that sets fire to the house,
Right.
it's terrible. The house
That
burned
is,
down, right?
yeah.
But you
Yeah.
also want to say, what happened to that child? What happened
See,
that made them
that's
want to do
interesting.
that?
Yeah.
What happened in our families and in our social structure as a whole that made someone want to randomly kill other people? And why is that accelerating?
And why is that accelerating? And like, why is that like becoming like an award? It's
Right,
like you're a famed,
right.
like, what is, like, there's something off there. That's not like a regular thing. There's something
Mhm.
that's got to be added to the DSM, I think, because it's crazy.
Yeah.
And also, Phyllis, you have one other book This one I don't have the link
called
to.
Into the Fire.
Yeah, what's up with this? What are
And
we
that was a
burning?
continuation of A Light in the Darkness. Those two books are very autobiographical, and they are really about the spiritual journey that I made in as part of my recovery from what happened to me in my childhood that was such a mystery to me and that had caused me so much pain and so much distress until I began to really uncover what had happened. And then I had like a hope of healing, and I really was on a path of healing. And part of that was a reclamation of, I call it a spiritual journey. I think another way of saying it, because we all have such different ideas of what spiritual is, reconnecting to your essential self. And I would say that. And I think the best therapy does that too. I've worked with some people who have
Phyllis,
had
I hate therapy, but I
you
know I
hate
need it.
therapy.
I hate it. I
Tell
hate
me
having to
why.
go. I don't know why. I never look forward to it. I know it helps. I know it's cool afterwards. I hate going. I hate having
But say
to go.
more about that, because I think that's such a valuable thing to share with people.
Yeah,
Because
I would rather talk to a random screen on YouTube and just random people that I don't know than have to think about what I'm going to say to a therapist in that 40 to 50 minutes of time and how that's going to go. That's my anxiety just rolling right
so
there.
do you fear being judged, or do you fear being vulnerable? Are you afraid you're going to uncover something that's going to be uncomfortable? What would you
Yeah, that
say?
one. Yeah, I
That
wouldn't.
one,
Think things will become uncovered. They can become uncomfortable. It can be vulnerable. It can be a
right?
very vulnerable moment, and to be
Right.
out of control. In a conversation like that where emotions kick in because old events kick in. It's like a spiritual experience sometimes it's like fucking hell, excuse my language, but
Hmm.
sometimes it's just a regular Thursday. It's hard to explain. um but I honestly think everyone should go to therapy,
Mm.
because if I got to do it, everyone else should. No, I'm just kidding. But it's crazy. It's always helped, we'll say that. Just to talk to somebody different sometimes
Yeah.
is even just cool,
Yeah.
you know?
I think vulnerability is a very big issue, especially in our society, because we generally sort of like the image of someone who's invulnerable, somebody who's got it all together and they look fine and they're successful and they know what
Yeah.
to do, and and the truth is most of us aren't really like that.
So
And
true. So true. I try to carry
right,
myself like that on a live stream for sure. And
right.
dude, I just put this shirt on, like I or maybe my head's totally not in the game, but I still have to be in the game. Like we're all just wounded birds, it feels like.
Yeah, yeah. And so one of the beauties of good therapy, when it's good, is that you can go into those scary places with someone who's not judging you, with someone who has some idea of how to guide you through those places to, when I said the title of my first book was A Light in the Darkness, I really felt like I lived in a lot of darkness, and my inner work and my journey and the people that I worked with helped me find a crack in that darkness and to let some light in. And the pain that I went through, and sometimes therapy was not fun for me as well, was so worth it. It was so worth it. It's sort of like when you have a splinter, and you don't want to pull it out because you know it's going to hurt. But when you
That's
get it out, it's amazing,
it's
right?
amazing, but you got to
It's
dig and get
amazing.
that thing out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that for our country.
Yeah. And it's like some people say it's not masculine to do that, like
Right.
or whatever. Like I could care less. Like I think it's as alpha as it gets to speak your piece on something, and to
Yeah.
get that negative or even maybe positive energy out. It's
Hmm.
just like you got to work out because it gets that sweat out. You got to have love and affection because that works that kind of part of your life and your
Right.
chemicals. And just like heart to heart conversation, I think is another like neuropath. I really do.
Yeah. But you bring up a good point, because I think men more than women are taught in our culture not to be vulnerable, that it's a sign of, being effeminate or weak or whatever, when in fact, And I can say this unequivocally, it takes tremendous courage and tremendous strength to be vulnerable, to really let yourself be intimate about the not so beautiful parts of yourself, or the places where you have pain, or the places where you've not been so kind to other people. We all have that. It's part of our conditioning. And one of the things that I talk about in my book, because I think it's so important, that vulnerability isn't just about the pain that I have suffered because someone didn't love me or they didn't treat me well. It's also the pain that I suffer at some of the mistakes I made, some of the things I wish I could go back and do differently. And if as a country, we could actually embrace that kind of vulnerability and that kind of honesty and say, we enslaved Black people. And now
Yeah.
we're blaming them.
Yeah.
We tried to destroy the Native Americans. What effect did we
We
have
did.
on generation after generation? We still haven't passed the Equal Rights Amendment. So women are still not entitled to the same salary as men in an equal job. That is
Still,
just outrageous.
that's
And yet,
crazy.
and yet we can't just say, what are we doing? This is something we're responsible for. We're
It's almost like
accountable
it takes
for.
someone to bring that up. That it's almost like there has to be someone to actually make that move and jump out of
Mhm.
the regular old trough and just make moves and say, hey, what we're doing maybe
Is wrong.
isn't right. But sometimes being that person is the hardest person to be, even if
But there's no question about it.
it's the right thing to do.
Well, these are our many martyrs. Look at the people who've been martyred. They were standing for love. They were standing for humanity.
Yeah, John Lennon is the first one I can think of.
Yeah.
But it goes way deeper than that, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, like, American culture, do you think that there is a what you call a crisis right now in mental health?
I do.
How do we how do we fix that?
Well, I think we have to understand mental health through a new perspective. And that's, again, one of the things I try to talk about in my book. I think we tend to think of mental health as there's that crazy person over there that shot 5 people, or there's that crazy person over there who robbed a bank, or the life savings of an elderly person, or they sold poison to people in their food. And I think, or they're roaming the streets and they're talking to voices of people that aren't there. And I think we tend to think of mental health as a very extreme end of our psychological functioning, when in fact we all have to understand our own mental health. And one of the reasons why I say this, so I think it's a collective issue. It's not those people over there are mentally ill. And certainly there are people that are farther along on the spectrum of being out of touch with reality or being severely violent. But we have to look at our own disconnects. And one of the ways that I point this out that I think really has meaning for people is that what we vote for and what we allow large institutions like our government to perpetrate, like wars on innocent people, or there's so many things, putting children in
Military
cages at the
industrial
border.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
would
yeah.
we would
That's
never
crazy.
allow in our own lives. We would never want this in our own lives. And the disconnect between what we allow as a nation and what we all want and believe is right for ourselves is a sign of a disconnect in our
I
mental
don't,
health.
Phyllis, I think some people just don't give a shit. They just want to live their life. They just want to be safe and sound and in their bubble. And it's kind of hard to hate them for that, or
Yeah, I don't
dislike
think
them
we
for
have to hate
that.
them for
Not
that. I
hate.
think we,
Hate's the wrong word, but
yeah,
dislike that. Not everyone is going to be the
right,
mayor or the community. I mean, I always have been. Like, I'm a very volunteer-esque, like,
right.
person. I was a baseball coach for years.
Hmm.
I'm very, like, into giving back. It's like a Jesuit thing. You give back to
Oh, sweet.
society.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, some people just aren't like that. And that's cool. They're just assholes. And I think that's okay. You know?
Well, I think the bigger picture around that, if I can say this,
Yeah.
is that I think that passivity comes from a lot of different directions. Some people, because I hear people say this sometimes, they've just given up. They just don't think there's anything that they can do except take care of their own.
So that's interesting. So they feel they can't do anything to actually make make good or make things happen. They feel hopeless.
They feel hopeless.
I didn't think of that perspective.
And I also think that that's one perspective. And I think that's a big
That's a shitty place to be, Phyllis.
Yeah.
It's a rough place
and
to
I
be.
think our society, the way it's going, is breeding that, because the more people feel overpowered, the more they feel like there's no justice for, the person at the bottom of the totem pole, the more they feel that the legal system is unfair to masses of people, for instance, or that opportunity is withheld from masses of people, or that the income differential is beyond, repair. People start to feel like there's nothing they can do.
What happened to the middle class? Like, what happened to my money? Like, everyone's money. No one has any money. Like, no one has any money. The only people that do are wicked rich, or they're the influencers doing content stuff.
So these are all
or bankers, basically.
of poor mental health in a country. When some people have all the power and all the resources, and many people.
Well, they call it inflation, and this is a little off topic, but they call it inflation. I think they're screwing with the percentage points, and they're cutting everyone's credit, and they're making the dollar worthless towards crypto, which is a wild thing to think about. But that's way down the line. Phyllis, we only have 3 minutes and 15 seconds left, so I just want to get to what we got to get to. Did you ever go to like Woodstock? I gotta ask.
I did not go to Woodstock.
You did not go to Woodstock?
Part of that generation, but I was not there.
Let me get a couple favorite bands from you. What are some favorite bands of yours?
Oh gosh, you're asking the wrong person. I'm from the older generation. I loved the Beatles. Okay.
Okay. All right. That's the big boy right there. It's the Beatles. They're awesome. All right. Phyllis, and it's weird that we have a countdown here, so I'm gonna be just give you as much time as possible. Sure. What's some info you could drop on some people in the audience right now about you, and what people should know about you?
Yeah. Well, I would just love people to go to my website, phyllislevitt.com, and sign in for my newsletter so that I can keep you informed about exactly when my book is going to be released. It should be next spring.
Very cool.
I would love to be able to tell people when the book is available. And I'm on YouTube and LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all those things.
All right. Your handle is basically your name, right?
Right. Phyllis Levitt, Phyllis.
All right. Well, we did it, Phyllis. We did it. We did the interview.
We did it.
It's a big round of applause for everyone in the Zoom here. All right. Thank you for joining me so much. And thank y'all for watching. Definitely stick around for the next one. And definitely go check out that book, y'all. And go sign up. Make sure you get those alerts at phyllislevitt.com. I'm Joey B. This is the Blind Knowledge Podcast. We love y'all. Peace.